Recording in progress.
Hey, everybody, welcome to the SOS Small Business Success Podcast. We're all about building brands to help you survive and developing you to thrive. And our topic is always in one of the 5 areas of the salon, SOS salon leadership role, which is our 5 anchors, right? Now, today's podcast is titled Captain, First Mate, and Crew. And we're going to define the difference between what all of that is and when we need to play each of these roles and when we need to understand that we should always be leading no matter what role that we're playing here. So I'm your host, Bonnie Bonadeo. Welcome aboard. I say I'm a speaker coach, author, podcaster. Truth is, here's where my topics of conversation: leadership, communication, speaking, and branding. Now, all of them are kind of like married to each other. Leader, you got to lead your communications, you got to lead when you're speaking, and you got to lead your branding, and all of that kind of develops this understanding of where you're at, where you're going, and how to be able to get there. So we're gonna get started right now. The 5 anchors of success: sales, operations, mindset, marketing, and education. I spend a lot of time in the operations element because it's important that you understand as a leader that you're managing people and you're leading people and you're managing systems. And those are the things that are ever evolving and constantly in motion within a small business. That yes, we need to focus on sales, marketing, and education. Each month, I'm reviewing these things for my own business as well as when I'm my coaching clients and their business. Mindset is probably our number one conversation that we're looking at, but it does tie back to leadership quite a lot here. So, captain, first mate, and crew. We're going to talk about navigating leadership with clarity and communication. So, what exactly is your role as a leader? And I want you to rate yourself as a leader right now. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rate yourself as a leader? Some people don't like to lead. They don't like confrontation. They don't like having to be the boss, but somehow they put themselves in that position. So you might as well learn to be a great boss and love it, okay? I love being a leader. I love being able to communicate with the team. I love being able to help people to grow because that's how I look at it. If something's not working with a team member, I look at it as, do I have the ability and the skill set to help them overcome this and grow from it? And then grow their business and their bottom line from it. So to me, it's leading is very exciting. I don't have fear of confrontation. I don't have fear of not knowing where I'm going to go in my speaking and communicating with that person. But it's learned. It's learned. This did not come naturally to me all the time, so you can learn to be a really great leader. Now, I'm going to reference our podcast today on our recent trip. We just got back from the USVI and the BVI Islands, British Virgin Islands and US Islands. And our trip was magically perfect because Hurricane Debbie just ended. And we did kind of like have to go into hurricane prep mode a little sooner than anticipated, but we got out last night just before the hurricane Ernesto hit where our boat is in St. Thomas. And under these circumstances, it's really critical to understand the role of the captain, the first mate, and the crew. Now, if you want to follow along with us on our journeys with our boat, you can follow along on Facebook or Instagram at Better Days Sailing. Better Days Sailing, that's the name of our boat. So we were out, we were having a good time. The weather was hot, but it's July, August. I mean, this is not the time of the year that it's as pleasant. Season in the boating world is November through June. And then hurricane season starts. So August, September, October are the ones where you're usually packing it up. But because we own our own boat and we have the ability to go down there anytime we want, we just have to be prepared that if we need to shut it down and get back into the dock and prep for hurricane. And that's exactly what happened to us this time. So I'm going to explain how the captain, first mate, and crew all kind of like transition. So at this point, Jeff, my partner, is the captain. I am the first mate. And the reason why I'm not the captain is because I don't have the skill set, the knowledge, or the ability to be able to drive the boat. And I don't have that captain's skill yet. So Jeff is a captain. Now, this has made our relationship a lot better because we have to figure out how to be able to communicate on many different levels and in many different ways in order to be effective. Because if it's just the two of us on the boat and it's a 50-foot boat, we have to be able to find ways that is effective in communicating. Now, and you also know that anytime you're doing something like this, there's a whole language attached to it. So everything that we're doing, not only am I learning a new language, I'm learning new skills, I'm learning where I need to be, what needs to happen, and I'm a very hands-on learner at this point, so I need to have my hands in it, like being able to tie a knot. I can't watch somebody tie a knot and then duplicate that. I have to have the line in my hand to be able to tie that knot. And then I have to practice it 4, 5, 6, 10, 20 times to be able to say, okay, now I remember how to be able to do that knot. But ultimately what you want to do is you want to respect the captain, okay? Now, I say this in all honesty because I know a lot of times, and there's some really bad language going on out in our industry out there where they talk about toxic salon owners, okay? And part of that to me is that they just don't have respect for what that role is. And they eventually go out on their own, and I think then they learn how difficult that role is to be able to run, manage a business and lead people within that business. So, respect the captain right off the bat. They're the ones with the most at stake at this point. And they're the ones that are, when things are not good, they have to make things happen. Now, if you're a captain or a leader and you still don't know what you need to be doing, this is the perfect opportunity to be able to get more education, get more training, hire a coach like me or many of the other wonderful coaches in the industry, okay? But respecting the captain starts with having a good vision, understanding what that vision is that they're sharing, knowing what the purpose is, and then understanding the plan of how you do business together, okay? In our industry, we have this ability to be kind of like little mini entrepreneurs within the business because we're managing our own clientele day in and day out, even though it might be under the roof and the umbrella of the actual business, okay? But on a boat, the vision, the purpose, and the plan is because you're kind of laying out the course. Where are we going to go? How long are we going to stay there? What, are we going to be mooring or anchoring or docking? Like, we have to have all of these things kind of lined up a little bit in advance. A boat's on water, a boat's always in motion. Yes, you have the ability to be able to manage the boat so it's not necessarily going anywhere, but that is a skill that you have to learn. And just like managing your brick and mortar business, it may not be floating away from you, but if you're not paying attention, the business might be floating away from you, okay? So, respecting the captain also requires you to determine a communication strategy that you both agree on, because nobody communicates exactly the same way. This is the big problem of being in the people business. Clearly, you can see this is a big problem just in our country right now with the election going on. Nobody communicates effectively. Nobody's communicating in a way that is allowing all of us to be on the same page. Somebody's saying something, somebody's saying something else, exact opposite of what the other person just said. We don't know who to believe anymore. But I want you to be, if you're part of the First Mate Club or the Crew Club, I want you to help the captain be a better communicator as well. It is your job to manage up as much as it is their job to be able to manage down. So you got to revisit this communication style often. Now, Jeff and I being captain and me being first mate, I naturally want to lead. It's just part of my nature. I'm more outspoken. I'm willing to ask questions. I need to hear things and see things in order to be connected to what's happening. So I have that from that fear response, that fighter mentality. I'm not afraid to speak up. Jeff is more of a freezer in the fear response world, so that means he needs more time to process. I'm quick to speak, he needs time to think. And then now I know this, so it's my responsibility as well to be able to give him that time to process what needs to happen, whether it's just figuring out what our plan is or a destination, or whether it's something that's more urgent, like getting us back to the dock and preparing the entire boat for a hurricane to be able to come. Okay, you have to discuss these expectations and communications, understand what the tasks are that we both need to be doing, and then deliver on those tasks. You know, if I'm supposed to be picking up a mooring ball, and the mooring ball is, I don't catch it, okay, the first time, I have to let him know where that mooring ball is under the boat, because he can't see it. So it's up to me to share with him and communicate with him effectively where that ball is at that point, so he can navigate back up, either go starboard or port. Again, the language is very important here, and I'm directing him to be able to do that at times, so that we can find the ball and then I can actually go and pick up the ball again. Or we might need to completely reset, back away from it, and pull back into it from a whole different angle to be able to make that work for us. Patience is definitely a virtue in the world of boating and sailing here. Yeah. So you want to discuss expectations, communication, tasks, and delivery. Confirm that things are not just being heard, but clarity and comprehension of our communication. So he might say something to me that I'm not exactly sure what he's referencing, because again, there's a whole nother language. I'm learning all new skills. I'm learning all the names of the parts of the boat. And so if he's asking me to do something, I'm double checking with him on clarity of comprehension. So if we're actually in a sail mode and he's asking me to put, a particular line on the wench, I'm double checking with him what line I'm putting on that wench, because that could be we could have a very different end result if I put the wrong line on the wench to be able to pull up a sail, tighten a sail, bring down a sail, all of those things. And you always want to have a plan B when plan A doesn't work. What do we do now? And this, of course, is part of my emotional intelligence strategy that I share with you guys often. SBA, stop, breathe, assess. Okay, when things are not going well, stop, breathe, assess. And then at that point, I always like to go into the SOS. Stop, overview the situation, and strategize what are the next steps. Okay, so when things are not working. So when we heard there was a hurricane coming in, we had to leave the BVI, come back into the USVI. We had to go through customs in that process to be able to do that. So it was quite urgent that we got back to the dock, because we needed time to be able to prep the boat for hurricane. Prepping the boat for hurricane is not just like locking things down and tying it back up. It was removing the head sail, removing the mainsail, tying it up with, many more lines, bringing the dinghy to a different location so that it wasn't on the boat. Then that's just some of the outside stuff. Then of course the inside stuff, because when a boat's rocking, things are moving, and kind of getting things locked in and secured from the inside. And it's a lot of packing up what is typically a part of the boat. So it was an enormous amount of work. Now, in this process of being able to do that, you have to understand learning styles of people. So some people are visual, some people are auditory, some people are kinesthetics. We're a combination of all of those things, but one of them is more of a comfortability factor with it. But there's also a couple other learning styles: reading, writing, solitary, logic, and interpersonal. Reading and writing meaning that you study things and then you implement them. And on a situation with a boat, with a hurricane coming, there's not a lot of reading or writing time available to you. So you're really looking to a leader to help you get through what needs to be done in a short amount of time. Solitary, not an option in this case. And you have to be able to look at yourself as a leader too. So if you scaled yourself on that 1 to 10 scale and you kind of went down into the 5 or 6 or even 7, I want you to look at, are you being too solitary in your leadership style? And is there a way for you to reconnect with your team and or a first mate or a leader? Okay. Logic, yes, logic can go right out the window when you're in panic mode, and we know that to be true from an emotional intelligence standpoint, that when we get hijacked, logic takes a back seat to the emotional part of our brain. And then interpersonal, of course, is kind of a group setting. You know, you learn more from a group dynamic, which can have some benefits as well. So the owner, the first mate, or the first follower, or the crew. So I want to now tie this back into Salon scenarios. As a captain, you're always leading. As an owner, you're always leading. You may or may not have a first mate, and a first mate would be your manager. So you might have a manager that is managing all of the business and then all of the operation and sales and marketing elements of your business. You might have different managers in those roles. So, you know, there could be an operation manager, there could be a marketing manager, there could be an education manager. Okay, you have to figure out what's your communication style. If you don't have a manager, I want you to think about this first follower concept. Do you have a first follower? This would be somebody that you feel comfortable expressing, creating buy-in, or running things by them as a trusted crew member or team member to be able to kind of take next steps and actions on there. And sometimes you're the crew. Sometimes you're literally on the floor with the crew, at the chair. And how do you define yourself in that role and still create that relatability and respect as a leader, even though now you're part of the crew? And as a captain, first mate, and crew, all of these positions can change, and you have to be them, some one at a time and some simultaneously on here. Okay, so in a situation where we were pulling down the sales, this is by no means an expertise of me, not even an expertise of Jeff, even though we had done it one time before. It was a few years back and there was little memory of how it was going to be done. So we had somebody come out to help us take down the sales. He then became the captain. He was in charge of the process of taking down the sales. Now, when you take down a sail on a boat, on the water, and there's gusts of winds, you got to be really careful because that sail could go flying. And you have to be very careful because it could take you flying as well. This is a big machine in a sense. And the sail is a big, heavy piece of canvas that can definitely put you in an unsafe zone there. But when our captain started directing us, we became his crew. He then became in charge of taking down the sails. We then became the crew, and we had to listen to his instructions. If we didn't understand his instructions, we had to ask questions. He was very clear in communicating these instructions, and it was all designed around getting the job done, of getting the sails down, but also taking into consideration our environmental issues, how much wind was happening, that it was very, very hot that day, and that we had to keep ourselves hydrated and prepared to continue to keep going. Like there wasn't a lot of stopping points. Once we started the process, there was no stopping, okay? And so it was interesting to be able to go through this entire process and realize that how the roles had changed. And once we got all that down and packed the boat up, and then, you know, keeping an eye on the weather, keeping an eye on the forecast, and then we headed out of St. Thomas and got ourselves safely home. And still, to this moment and this day, because the storm is still active in the USVI, we don't have a lot of details of how our boat weathered the storm. We trusted our team and our captain from that perspective of preparing that boat to be safe in 100-mile-an-hour winds. We don't know what the end result is just yet. So that is still pending for us at this time. All right, words of wisdom. And these words of wisdom, you guys, this is coming from one of my favorite books, The E-Myth. So I want you to think about it from this point on. As a leader, as a captain, and if you're communicating with your first mate and you're communicating with your crew, how are you delegating all of those conversations? So As a leader and a captain, you want to work on your business, not just in your business. So work on your business, not just in your business. As we progress into, right now we're in third quarter and we go into fourth quarter, it's really easy for us as captains to neglect working on the business because we start to get busy. So I want you to start prepping that now. And this is building a solid plan for growth and sharing it with your crew. All right. The plan is sales, marketing, operations, and education. Now, if you need a plan, I have a plan. It's called the SOS Salon Strategy Plan. And it's something that I work with every single one of my coaching clients with. And it's available to you now because we're already into third quarter. This particular plan, I have it for $7 online. So, all you got to do is go to sossaloncoaching.com. You'll see it kind of within that second section on the website, and you can download the plan for only $7. Now, I'm sorry, it's not too late to be doing this, you guys. We have a lot of work to do in order to meet our goals that we've set up between third and fourth quarter. And if you are measuring your numbers, which is the next thing I'm going to share with you, manage your business by numbers. Okay, so the first thing is work on your business, not just in it. Build a solid plan for growth, share it with your crew, manage your business by the numbers. If you know where you stand right now as a mid-year report, then congratulations, that's awesome. Each one of my clients have received their mid-year report at this point so they can see where they're at compared to last year's sales and where they're at compared to their goals that they established for this year. So at this point, most of us should be somewhere between 45 and 55% of our goal. Okay, and if you're not, then we have time to make up for that. We have time to figure out how to get to that goal that you've created in there. But if you want to download a plan, it's 21 pages. It might be a little overcomplicated at this point in third quarter, but use what you can from the plan. It's still very valid to be able to do this. sossaloncoaching.com. Click the link, $7, you guys. All right, manage business by numbers. Create a high-performance team. All right, I'm going to talk about that next week, creating a high-performance team. We're going to go back into this captain, first mate, and crew conversation. Design a sales process that works. This is really critical, you guys, because the sales process is everything from when the client walks in the door or when the client calls to make an appointment, the client checks in, the client checks out, the entire experience that the crew is responsible for in order for that customer experience to happen, okay? And then you craft this ideal customer experience. What should that feel like, look like, be? And how consistent are you with that client experience? Okay? And always be in recruitment mode for new clients and new talent. Always, always, always be in recruitment mode for new clients and new talent. And how are you measuring that? Okay? We measure new clients every day. I know exactly what clients we have as new clients every day. We actually put them on a framed picture on our desk that says, "Welcome to Intrigue. Welcome our new clients to Intrigue." And it has their first name, last initial in there. So every day it kind of forces our operation manager to be able to see who are our new clients, and then we can kind of like engage with them. Where did you come from? How did you find out about us? Because sometimes that information gets lost in the shuffle. So it's good to know where that's coming from, and then make the investments into those areas that it seems that you know where they're coming from. Okay, those are my words of wisdom. Again, here's your 2024 SOS Salon Strategy Workbook, your plan, your plan of action, your true north here, $7. Download it, put it to work. You know what? You download it for $7. I'll give you guys a one-on-one free coaching session if you do that. So download it. I get notified that you have purchased my $7 plan here at this point. It's normally a $350 value, you guys. And throughout the year, I sell it at different prices. Right now, $7. I will honor an opportunity to provide you a 1-hour one-on-one coaching session when you get that plan, so we can talk about how to end your year successfully. Take advantage of that. Do it now. And then I look forward to chit-chatting with you guys next week. And again, if you want to follow us on our journeys with Better Days, it's Better Days Sailing on Facebook and Instagram. And then, of course, you guys can always follow me, Bonnie Bonadeo, Instagram, Facebook, the whole works. Just my name. And I look forward to sharing some more SOS strategies with you guys in the near future. All right, thanks for joining me today.